Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. If you're not new here, like the video, share the video, leave some comments. And if you clicked on this video, you're here because you want to learn how to land your dream job. Congratulations to all the 2020 quarantine graduates. I know this is a very unorthodox way to graduate, but still nonetheless, you are out in the real world and you probably want to get some coins. And I am here to try to help you facilitate your journey into the real world, as your parents say, because my parents say that too. So welcome to the real world. But congratulations. And we're just going to go ahead and get into the video. So as always, I am rooting for everybody Black. I want everyone to succeed. So I'm just going to go ahead and give everyone 5 quick tips on how to land your dream job. So I'm going to get into the tips right here. Number 1, if you do land an interview, the first thing you want to do is research the company. You want to check their website, look at how long they've been in business, and just look at their history of the business, where they started and how they got there. You want to know the mission. You want to know if it lines up with your mission for yourself. You also want to check on Glassdoor. Glassdoor will tell you ratings, how current employees feel, how previous employees felt about working in that company. See what they're paying their employees, pros, the cons. Glassdoor. You could also take it a step further and research your supervisor, hiring manager, people that will be interviewing you if you're going to be in a panel interview. Social media is at your service. LinkedIn, guys, use your resources. LinkedIn, you can find out information about your manager, your hiring manager, things like that. That will just give you insight into who you'll be sitting in front of, because you've already given them your resume, references, things like that. Go ahead and do the same for them so you'll know who you're sitting in front of when you do your interview. So make sure you research your company, research anybody that will be in the interview with you. And that is tip number 1. Number 2, so the next thing you want to do is dress for success, honey. You do not want to come in looking like you really need a job. Number 1 thing you want to do, if you don't do anything else, is look the part. So I've always heard the tip of dress for the job that you want instead of the job that you're applying for. But for me, I'm just gonna say dress a level above what you think you should dress. So if you think you should come in there with some khakis and a nice shirt or blouse, take it a notch up. Business suit, business attire, dress, career professional dress. If you're a woman, and if you're a male, you know, do the same thing as far as you guys can go. But yes, definitely dress for success. Nobody wants to hire anybody that looks like they actually need a job. I know that sounds harsh, but it is the truth. And another thing that I can say, I researched my supervisor, my current supervisor, and on his LinkedIn, there was one of his previous supervisors, and they said that he came dressed to the nines every day that he came to work. So you know what? When I came and I sat in front of him, I wanted to be dressed to the nines. And to this day, another lady in the office, because I had a panel interview, another lady in the office, she's like, oh my gosh, you were dressed so nice. And even when I went into my interview that day, she was like, oh my gosh, you look so nice. So I was just like, okay, this is how I dress. But apparently people don't come into interviews the same way I do. So yeah, just make sure you dress above the job that you applied for. So that is my tip number 2, dress for success. And LinkedIn is the plug, guys. LinkedIn is the plug. So after you've researched the company, after you've gotten dressed for your interview, the number 3 thing that you want to do is be punctual. So don't wait until the morning of to decide what you're going to wear, and don't wait till the morning of to decide to research and Glassdoor and LinkedIn, all of that stuff. You need to be preparing. The interview, you have homework. Before you go to the interview, you have already had homework. So number 3, be punctual, because they don't want to wait on you. And I promise you, it doesn't matter what your excuse is. You don't want to be late. They don't want to hear, oh, I got lost. Oh, the weather was bad. Oh, this, oh, that. They're going to say, bye. Bye. Like, I have been late to an interview before. And it was because I first had traffic. I was going to an interview like 45 minutes away. And the interview was 45 minutes away, but the job site wouldn't have been 45 minutes away. So I had traffic. When I got there, they had these parking garages. You needed to get validations and things like that. They don't want to hear any of that nonsense. If your interview is at 7 o'clock, it's better for you to be waiting on them than them waiting on you. So you want to be the person like, hey guys, where are you? How do I get into this parking garage? Because I'm trying. They don't want to be hearing that at 7 o'clock that you're trying to get in the parking garage. They want you sitting, you know, waiting on them. So it's always better for you to wait on them than them to wait on you. I have heard that it is possible to be too early to an interview, but still, you don't want them to have to wait on you. So be punctual, 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 punctual. So the fourth thing, when you're going into your interview, you want to be confident. I mean, there is a such thing as, you know, nervous jitters. You know, everyone gets a little, you know, clammy, and you just get nervous when you're meeting people that you don't know. I mean, everybody doesn't, but I do. So when I'm meeting people I don't know for the very first time and I don't know exactly what to expect, I'm like on edge. I'm like, I don't know what I should say, what I shouldn't say. That's why it's important to research these people if you can, because it's like you don't have a temperature check. So just go in there, be confident in what you do. So just be confident when you go in. You will have a little bit of jitters, but that is natural. Sometimes jitters help people succeed and get to the next level. So, but be confident. Like, there is a balance between being nervous and being confident. So also when you're confident, you're able to let a conversation flow. Like, a lot of interviewees think that the person facilitating the interview should be the only one speaking. No, that is not true at all. Make it a conversation, make it conversational, okay? And while you're doing this conversation, this is like number 4A. Do not speak negatively about your current job or your previous job or anything like that. Do not speak negatively about that company. When you speak negatively about a company that you currently work for, they're going to think in their head, okay, so if she goes to her next interview, if she does get this job, she or he, if you get this job, are they going to do this? Are they going to badmouth this company? So you don't want to do that. Make sure that if you have any issues with your job, you leave that at that job, because you don't want that to block your blessing. Just go ahead, go in there with a very positive attitude. If you feel the urge to say something negative, turn it into a positive some kind of way. So if you feel like your job is too hard or too stressful, just say that they challenge you and you love challenges. Like, you got to make a spin. You have to sell yourself, and you do not sell yourself by putting a company down. Like, that's the quickest way for you not to land the job. And number 5, finally, what you want to always do is follow up with an email. I did not mention this in my last tip, but when you're conversating with these people or conversing, I'm not sure which one of those is the correct term, but when you're having a conversation with the panel or whoever is interviewing you, you always want to make sure that you ask questions. So my number 5 is send a follow-up email. So if you forget to ask a question because sometimes you get nervous or it's just moving so fast or they're throwing so many questions at you, if you have any follow-up questions, the follow-up email is the perfect time to do that. Also, my current supervisor, he always tells me that that is the reason that I got my job. He says that he saw me take initiative. Like, nobody had to tell me to send a follow-up email. I just did it. And I asked questions. I forgot to ask, hey, when can I expect to hear back from you? So that's something that I put in my follow-up email. If there's something, if you forget to ask about benefits or vacation, just have a question to ask, especially if you didn't ask one during the interview, because that is one of the number 1 mistakes of all interviewees, not asking any questions. Like I said, you want to make it a conversation. Don't just let them speak at you and dictate and steer the conversation the way they want it to go. You need to have some input, and the best way to have input or a retort to anything is to have a question, because that shows that you have actually been paying attention, you have been researching and you couldn't find this answer. Make sure you ask questions. And also, make sure you thank them, because there were probably a lot of applications in that pool, but they chose you. So thank them for taking the time out of their day. Thank them for allowing you to come in. And yeah, that pretty much sums up how to land your dream job. And there's really no cheat code for this, honestly. Like I said, number one, you want to research your company and the people interviewing you. Number two, you want to dress for success. Number three, you want to be punctual. Number four, you want to be confident. And number five, you want to have follow-up questions or follow-up email, excuse me. So these 5 things will help you land your dream job if you play your cards right. I will also go ahead and tell you some of the main things that hinder people from getting the job while they're interviewing. And other than that, happy job hunting. So I did look up what were the most common mistakes for individuals that do land an interview and what hindered them from getting a job. So I'm just gonna go ahead and read those off for you. I love to research things, so that's how we ended up here. So number 1, arriving late. Number 2, arriving too early. Number 3, appearing unpolished. I covered that in my 5 points. Number 4, not bringing a resume. So I didn't mention that. Make sure, even if you send them a resume, make sure you bring copies of your resume with you, hard copies, more than 1. Bring like 5 because you don't know who they want to give it to. So that's something that I missed. Number 5, displaying low energy. I covered that. Be confident. Number 6, focusing too much on yourself. So yeah, don't make the interview all about you. And it's kind of hard because they're interviewing you, but just, you know, don't sound like you're boasting or bragging about yourself so much. Seeming unprepared. Research your company. Research the supervisors. You'll be prepared. Number 8, not having any questions. So I pretty much touched all of those points. I literally had already made my 5 points that I wanted to hit. And after I was done, I was like, hey, I wonder what are the top or most common mistakes for individuals who are interviewing. Why aren't they getting the job? And these are the 8 things that I heard. Those are things that could land you back at home. So if you want to go ahead and get your job in the real world, follow these 5 tips. Let me know down below if you have any additional tips, and also let me know what job are you applying for? What is your dream job? All right. Thank you for tuning in. Come back for another video and go watch some of my other videos. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Bye.